Well, ladies and gentlemen, you might want to stop rolling your fat doobies tonight because we're going to be diving into this one. It's going to be a serious discussion, and this is a serious topic because this changed the course of history, right? American people deserve to know the truth. In fact, the whole world deserve to know the truth because after this event, people's lives changed for the worse. So many people's lives changed for the worse. So many people lost their lives too, directly because they were on the tower that day, but also because of what happened following those attacks, right? So many wars started, and back when this happened, I was a kid. I remember watching this. Feel free to share what happened. Where were you when this happened? Because I remember I was a kid without having any understanding of the world or how everything worked. Saw this on the news. My mama was watching it. I was watching it, and they were showing different cameras, and holy shit, right? Now looking back at it, that's my reaction because at the time didn't know what to think about it, but so many people's lives were changed, and at that time, yes, there were conspiracies, but it wasn't enough, okay? Like, nobody really wanted to believe that, or some wanted to believe that, but it wasn't as spread out like it has been in the last couple weeks. And we're gonna be diving right into it, and this video is definitely not gonna be very friendly on YouTube, so not sure what's truly gonna happen. Hopefully it's gonna stay up, but real quick though, shout out to all the members on the channel. If you're new here, you do not have to subscribe, you do not have to like the video. We're gonna be diving right into it, and full credit goes to the CJ Werleman Show. Check this one out, and yeah guys, lock in, roll it.
Regular viewers know that our program does not engage in conspiracy theories because we are dedicated to serious journalism that exposes injustices in the Muslim world. Spreading conspiracies will only undermine that mission. Therefore, any discussion about 9/11 must begin with the indisputable fact that 9/11 was not an inside job. It was carried out by Al-Qaeda, which we...
Now, surely a lot of people do believe it was an inside job. A lot of people do believe that it was an inside job, and a lot of people also believe that it was not an inside job. So yeah, let me know which camp you fall into, but wait, relax, you're gonna get some tonight. Well, yeah, wait for it.
We know to be true because Bin Laden... It was carried out by Al-Qaeda, which we know to be true because Bin Laden said so in his own words in a televised interview with Al Jazeera in 2004, 3 years after he initially denied it. He praised the attackers as a blessed group of Muslims and recited poetry on their behalf.
خرجوا من أرض الحجاز من أرض الإيمان من غامد وزهران ومن بني شهر ومن حرب ومن نجد نرجو الله أن يتقبل الجميع والذين خرجوا من مكة المكرمة سالم ونواف الحازمي وخالد المحضار أو الذين خرجوا من المدينة المنورة تركوا الدنيا ونعيمها من أجل لا إله إلا الله.
So now that we have answered the question as to who carried out 9/11, let's now examine what Israel knew in advance of the attacks and why it didn't use this information to help the United States stop them. These questions...
That's like one of the first claim, right? According to the conspiracy, but now it's more than just a conspiracy. Israel knew about it, but they still didn't say or did not warn the US. Instead, they captured some 5 young Israelis at the time, and they were dancing, and this is part of the so-called dancing Israelis conspiracy. So yeah, it's the rabbit hole is pretty deep, and it's gonna go deep.
Start with the so-called 5 dancing Israelis who were seen celebrating and filming a jetliner slam into the Twin Towers from atop a removalist van in New Jersey on September 11th, as reported at the time by mainstream media outlets.
It began when this woman was watching the Twin Towers burning from her apartment in New Jersey. She noticed 3 men on top of a van, posing for pictures with the towers burning in the background.
And I could see that they were like happy, they didn't look shocked to me, they didn't look shocked. I thought it was very strange.
The witness called police, who stopped the van hours later and arrested 5 men. All 5, it turns out, were Israeli. They were turned over to the FBI. Sources tell ABC News during a check of national security databases, some of the men were listed as having had connections with Israeli intelligence. At the FBI, that set off alarm bells.
The FBI needed the answers to 3 important questions.
Yeah, we're not talking about the normal Israeli civilians or normal folks or the business folks or anything like that. We're talking about people that were dancing, laughing, and watching it, but had ties to the, you know, Israelis' intelligence, which, I mean, at that time it was pretty big, but now it's regaining traction, and there's a lot of other stuff that's coming out too, right? It's gonna be really interesting. I'm not sure if you're following the Anna Poluna stuff or not, but she claimed just, I believe, 2 months ago at this time, or by the time I'm filming this, so she was talking about, hey, we're gonna be, she works for the United States government, first of all, for those of you that do not know. She claimed that they're gonna be disclosing the UFO files, the aliens files, the JFK files, which has been disclosed. There were 80,000 documents. A lot of people said ain't nobody got time for that, but people actually are still looking through it, and there was a whole lot of information that came out of it. But she also claimed, Anna Polina Luna claimed that they are also going to be declassifying the 911 files too. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So maybe one day we're actually going to get the full-blown truth. But this is currently what we know, and what's about to come is pretty wild.
Who were these men? What brought them to that parking lot on the morning of September 11th? And did they have any advance knowledge of what was going to happen that day?
When the men were apprehended by law enforcement, they first claimed to be Israeli tourists, but later admitted to being illegally employed by a moving company called Urban Moving Systems, a company and FBI investigation determined to be a front for Israeli intelligence operating within the United States.
Mossad, yeah.
Of the 5 arrested, at least 2 of the men were determined to have direct links to the Mossad, after their names appeared in a CIA FBI database of foreign intelligence operatives. According to the initial police report, one of the 5 told the arresting police officers, "We are Israeli. We are not your problem. Your problems are our problems. The Palestinians are the problem." End quote.
Damn, bro. That's
We'll
crazy.
circle back to this in a moment. But the FBI was so sure.
And also, like, this video was made like a couple of months ago. So currently, this is all subject to change. Of course, we're talking about President Trump, Donald Trump, and he's currently like cutting ties with Israel. And Netanyahu is pretty upset about that. That's the current news, right? But you never know, right? And of course, like, Trump has been to Qatar, he has been to Saudi, he's making deals in the Middle East, he's going for the peace in the Middle East, and the only folks that are mad, or the only person that's mad, happens to be Israel, and it's Netanyahu, right? But you never know, Trump can change stance, and yeah, so that's why I'm saying subject to change, but currently, that's what we know, so.
That the 5 Israelis had information about the 9/11 attacks, or at least knew of the attacks in advance, that had held him for 5 months in solitary confinement, and subjected some of them to at least 7 polygraph tests, which is an unusually high number according to experts. A famous American journalist who reviewed the FBI investigation and interviewed higher-ranking FBI officials said in March 2002 that the law enforcement agency believed it was impossible the Israelis didn't know of the attack in advance.
Damn, man.
What about this question of advanced knowledge of what was going to happen on 9/11? How clear are investigators that some Israeli agents may have known something?
Well, it's very explosive information, obviously, and there's a great deal of evidence that they say they have collected. None of it necessarily conclusive. It's more when they put it all together. A bigger question, they say, is how could they not have known? Almost a direct quote, Brett.
Yeah,
Ultimately, the Israelis were released from detention after the Bush administration intervened, with the FBI report stating Israeli and US government officials worked out a deal, with the 5 Israelis taken out of jail, put on a plane, and deported back home. Evidence that higher-ups in the administration intervened is the fact that the then Attorney General, John Ashcroft, personally signed off on the detention.
Bro, at that time, like, anybody that you know, if they found a single ounce of evidence of, hey, if you could have been involved with these attacks, bro, they would have probed your ass, bruh. And having like so much intel on it, they were let go. Yeah, that is suspect to say the least.
Detainees released. Ashcroft was not only a devout Christian Zionist, signed off on the detainees released. Attorney General John Ashcroft personally signed off on the detainees released. Ashcroft was not only a devout Christian Zionist, but also, without coincidence, the first client he obtained as a government lobbyist in 2005 was the State of Israel. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Upon their return to Israel, the 5 dancing Israelis told an Israeli television network that they were in New York on September 11th to document the attack on the Twin Towers. The key words being document the attack. Because how can you document an attack or incident that you have no advance warning of?
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Bruh, that is crazy. And I gotta throw in allegedly in this video, guys. Allegedly, for the purpose of this video, right, on YouTube and all that. We were there to document, he said. Shit, man. Is that an accurate translation? If anybody speaks the language, let us know, man.
That experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Ooh.
Our purpose was to document the event.
Now that we, along with the FBI, have determined Israeli intelligence did indeed have advance warning of the September 11 attack.
Why didn't they warn?
The question is, why didn't they pass on this information to the United States to prevent the mass murder of 3,000 American citizens on US soil?
And I would say it's more than that, right? So much injustice happened because of this. So many people's lives were changed for the worst at that time too, right? And of course, like people that lost their lives, their loved ones, their families were impacted by it. People nearby were impacted by it. And also like so many different wars happened because of it. And because of the wars that happened, you ever heard of the butterfly effect where, you know, a butterfly, because of the way like the butterfly would flap the wings, it would create the wind, and therefore that wind could make itself into a tornado somewhere else. Look up into the butterfly effect. It's very, very fascinating, and the same could apply on this one, but on a bigger scale. So many like wars started because of that, so many more wars started, and it still is an endless battle, right? So yeah.
Well, let's start with Omer Mameri, one of the arrested Israeli intelligence officials, who explained to the FBI why he viewed the 9/11 attacks in a positive light. He said, "Israel now has hope that the world will now understand us. Americans are naive, and America is easy to get inside. There are not a lot of checks in America, and now America will be tougher about who gets into their country." End quote. On the surface, this is certainly an odd way to equivocate the deaths of 3,000 Americans with something positive. But it makes sense from a motive point of view when you consider what Netanyahu told an Israeli newspaper. What? He said, "We are benefiting from the attack on the Twin Towers and Pentagon and subsequent war in Iraq because it has swung American public support in our favor."
Yeah, the weapons of mass destruction that they said were in Iraq, that never were in all reality. Yeah, crazy, man. That is... The rabbit hole goes deep, man, and who profited? The military complex. It's always those military complex folks, right?
Quote.
Especially today with the US. I know who they are, or how they are. America is something that you can easily maneuver and move in the right direction. And even if they say something, so then they say something, so what? 80% of Americans support us.
Israel's motive in withholding intelligence regarding the September 11 attacks was also made obvious in 2002, when Israel began aggressively pressuring the United States to invade Iraq, an Arab country that had absolutely zero involvement with 9/11.
Yeah,
Saddam has nuclear weapons. The terror network will have nuclear weapons. Next thing you'll see is a nuclear bomb in the World Trade Center. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. I think the choice of Iraq is a good choice. It's the right choice.
Yeah. As you can see.
And it did not have the right impact though. Right after that, like, yeah, like it created more wars, right? It's again like the butterfly effect. It just like, you know, you do something, everything has an opposite and equal reaction, and that's truly what happened right after. So wars created more wars, and then more wars, and then more wars, right?
There's absolutely zero doubt Israel had prior knowledge of the largest terrorist attack to hit the United States, and it did nothing to alert its #1 ally of its coming catastrophe. The question now is, why don't Americans care? And the answer to that question is simple. Not enough Americans know, because this information has been suppressed and long forgotten by the mainstream media outlets. I'm certain that if every American knew Israel could have prevented 3,000 American casualties but chose not to, which resulted in a $10 trillion war on terror that cost another 10,000 American lives, then every US citizen would take to the streets with pitchforks in demanding an immediate end to their hard-earned tax dollars being funneled to the Zionist state.
Damn.
Some evil is just, it can't be explained.
Are these people happy? Are they joyous now? Are they celebrating?
Oh, absolutely. They're
Thank
celebrating.
God.
There's one report, this has not been confirmed, but there's several reports that there was a cell, one of these cells across the Hudson River, and they got on this is the report. I emphasize, I don't know this for a fact, but there's several witnesses who say this happened. They got on the roof of the building to look across. They knew what was going to happen. Yeah. They were waiting for it to happen, and when it happened, they celebrated. They jumped for joy.
Yeah, it's a crazy rabbit hole to say the least, and as more information comes out, I'll definitely make a part 2 as well. But did you see this video though? If not, click on this video on the screen, because they are now talking about 4 different alien species that are among us. Reptilians, Nordics, Greys, and there's one more. Click on this video on the screen and check it out, man. It's crazy stuff.